All right, today I wanted to talk about one of the coolest builds that I've had the opportunity of playing during Necropolis. Now, I've tested and tried a bunch of different things, and lately, I've been looking for the next fun, awesome thing. You saw in the last video, we messed around, we tried out Divine Iron, we just kind of look for different things to play. And Necropolis League just got extended, so a community member reached out, and his name was Shawn, and he was like, hey man, I know you're looking for some cool builds, can I make a suggestion? And I was just like, what do you got? And he brought to us Splitting Steel Trickster. Now, I've heard of Splitting Steel Trickster. I'm sure you have heard of Splitting Steel Trickster, and a lot of people have played Splitting Steel Trickster, but I've had the opportunity for the first time ever of being able to try it, and it is one of the outright coolest builds that I've actually had the opportunity to play. This build has surprised me on levels that I can't even begin to express, and it just kind of does everything that I wanted to do. Now, if you've kept up, you know that I'm a fan of tier 17s. You know that I like the whole magic finding barrel and go thing. And you know that I am always looking for characters that can do a little bit of everything. Sometimes I want a character that specifies in certain aspects, but this character really shines. It really brings it together. And I'm able to do a lot of, really cool content with it. And I'm honestly, every time I kill a mob or do a map or even just talking about this video now, I'm more and more impressed with this character. You see here, we have an abomination map. It's got a bunch more scarabs. We're going to run it on a barrel, a barrel strategy. And I just really want to showcase just how cool this character is, what it can do, how it functions. And honestly, I want this to be more of a showcase of just how awesome this playstyle is. And maybe if you're looking for something cool to do, this character might be something that you guys are interested in, something that you research, and something that you fit towards your budget. The variant we're playing today is pretty high end. It has been really kind of, I would say, close to min-maxy as possible. Shawn really, did a fantastic job of putting it together. And we talked with the gentleman who really gave him the inspiration. And we'll go over everything, and we'll make sure everybody gets their credit. And we'll talk about, tornado shot at home and all the fun stuff that goes along with it. But Splitting Steel Trickster is just a character that 17s just become a breeze. And I've played some characters that can walk through 17s and have really cool explosions, but this just really outright takes the cake. And you can see the mods on the map aren't, they're not the craziest, they're not the hardest, but they still, it's still a 17, it's still a little bit, ooh, a divine orb, ooh, it's still a little bit juicy. We can just essentially just find rare mobs, and we're not really even doing anything. All I'm currently doing right now is just pressing right click. I'm just walking through the map like it's no big deal. And mobs are dying, loot is exploding, and we're having, is that it? No, we're having generally a very good time. Even with bossing in this on this build and going into the map bosses. Sometimes the map bosses, depending on the mods, are a little bit tricky, but otherwise you really just have no problems. Your damage, as you can see, is just one tapping all the mobs. We have 17,000 energy shield. We have rage building up. Our defenses with a mapping setup are 75 all res, 48,000 evasion, 85% chance to dodge. We have chance to blind, and we just have a lot of really good things going for us. And when we get into doing bossing in a minute and showcasing uber bosses, we'll see we change up the setup a little bit. We swap out some flasks. Our defensive layers get really strong, and you have so little to worry about when playing this character. It just fits the bill. It honestly just fits the bill of everything that I want in a character. It does it all. It's got really good movement. It's got pretty good clear. The only time in a 17 that I'm having a hard time is if I roll the map with less defenses. Essentially, if you roll the map with less defenses, you are one energy shield and you just can't clear the map. Also, less AoE is still pretty clearable. You could do less AoE maps, but I mean, it's a little bit slower. It's not bad. The only mods that I really avoid are less defenses, and Union of Souls. No leech, obviously. Union of Souls, you could do Union of Souls. It's just slow. It's just a little slow. Union of Souls is just a huge pain in the butt. But otherwise, you see right now, we did the 17. We went through it, no problem. Never any fear of dying. All of the mobs just essentially just explode. Sadly, no really insane drops. I mean, then again, we did get a divine, and I am pretty excited over divines, my guy. I am pretty excited over divines. I do, at the end of this video, have a showcase for another tier 17 map that's a little bit more intense, a little harder. and I'm going to include that for you guys so that you guys can watch that. And then otherwise, you know, we're doing, you know, we're kicking it. All right, let's see how this map boss goes. Let's not accidentally die to the explosions like the shotgun. Don't get shotgunned. Just don't do it. I will say, and this has been a topic of conversation in terms of builds and playstyle, just because your build is awesome and just because your build can withstand and do a lot of stuff, getting shotgunned by Dodre is 100% a player skill problem. I see it coming. I know it's coming. I still stand in it because it's me, man. It's me. I'm mechanically bad. Just don't stand in the Dodre shotgun. I know I'm supposed to kill this guy first. I'm very well aware, and I still decide to forget every single time I do this map and be kind of dumb. So, you know, that's on me. That's 100% on me. Someone's gonna watch this video and be like, oh my god, bro, you did the tier 17 map boss and you got crushed. And I'll be like, yeah, I did. I got my shit kicked in. XDD, man. Be a good laugh. It'll be a good laugh. But overall, 17's not a problem. Your mapping, your map bossing isn't too bad at all. You can do them. Oh, wow. We got 3 fragments there. Holy crap. That's really cool. That's like super rare. And you know, you see, you can go through your maps. No problem. Easy peasy. In terms of bossing, I know I had mentioned that this character could do bossing fairly well. We do indeed have a flask swap setup when we are going to go and do bosses. Quartz flask into this one. You know, we make the swap. We become a little bit tankier. You can even make the swap for tier 17 map bosses. We immediately get 84 all res. We're pretty happy with that. We swap out our explodey flask for our bottled faith, and you know, we overall just go inside of Ubers and just showcase how well we can do Ubers. Now, I've done the red guy. This is the first time doing the blue guy, so I'm gonna be like kind of like super sad face if I get immediately killed and I'm trying to be like, oh my god, this build is awesome. Let's just not. The hardest thing and the biggest thing that people will need to know about this build is a lot of the damage, aka all of the damage, comes from standing on top of the mob. So if you're going to play this build and you're going to attempt to do Ubers and you're going to attempt to do big damage, you need to know that a lot of your damage comes from the returning damage side of Nimbus and standing on top of the mob. So if you're not standing directly on top of the Uber boss, you'll do, you know, very little to no damage. It is going to be a Nimbus build. It is going to be a, you know, a build where like you throw out your attacks come back, they explode on top of you, and you just deal massive amounts of damage to all of the enemies. Okay. Okay, and okay, I guess this is the first time that that's happened, but you know, I guess we're doing the ball phase now, and we're just gonna like hope to God to, you know, we're just gonna look at shit. Dang it. Okay, we're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. No balls can stop me. We're good. We're good. We're good. It's pretty good. Now he's doing it again. Come on, man. I'm trying to showcase a kill. Why are you doing this to me? Watch, I'm never gonna be able to do it again, right? Like, we can never do this twice. Can I actually take a hit? Let's just see. Oh God. No, why? It probably should actually have just led with just like taking straight to the dome and not worrying about it. But yeah, I mean, you can just stand still, you know? You just stand still. And then we'll leave Uber Shaper for the end because it takes a little bit longer to showcase it, but we'll have it at the end of the video. If you guys want to see it, stay tuned for that, and stay tuned for the, you know, the map. All right, let's see. Do we get anything good from these? Do we get anything good? Attack speed. Nice. We'll just kick W these and look at these later. But overall, the build in itself is really sweet. It's a lot of fun. It can take a lot of damage. It can take hits. The only thing it really can't survive is the shotgunning you saw from Dodre in the tier 17 maps. But everything else overall is really fun. This build, like I had mentioned, was brought to me by a community member named Shawn. It's like 2116 on Twitch. And he did an absolutely fantastic job putting it together. His POB right here, the one that I am copying with the gear that I'm playing, has a max hit of 406,000. It does 4,672 quadrillion damage. It blows up everything. And his POB will be linked for you down below in the description. He got this build from a gentleman named Tornado Shot at home, and Tornado Shot, or Oreo, was, you know, talking to me about it yesterday and showcasing like the version of his armor and his shield, and he did an absolutely fantastic job putting this together. His variant of the build is also in the description down below. He actually has an armor up for the build and a shield up for the build for mirror service. So when you're watching this, if you do decide to play it and you are intrigued or interested and you have a, you know, currency burning a hole in your pocket, you can reach out to this gentleman here and he can offer you mirror service on some of the gear. Now, overall, the build in itself is a ES int stacking build. To my knowledge, we are using ephemeral edge so that we get attacks with this weapon have added lightning damage equal to 20% of our maximum energy shield. We have 17,820% energy shield. We have a lot of extra damage. Ideally, if you play this build, you want an ephemeral edge with resolute technique. That is the very big and important part. Anything else extra on it is really nice. You would like more percent increased maximum energy shield, as that equates to more damage, but we are really absolutely looking for resolute technique on this. On the weapon, we have a call to arms with an enduring cry trigger, and we have precision level 1 for our Watcher's Eye. Our helmet has been graveyard crafted for increased effects, maximum defenses, intelligence. We then use essences to slam on mana reservation and go from there. I do indeed have a link to the graveyard, and Shawn was, very nice enough to provide us with graveyard links for crafting the gear. It is also provided for you in the description down below, so if you're looking forward to that, you can use the graveyard links and attempt to craft your own helmet. The helmet in itself has a Val Smite. We can indeed Val Smite to get extra damage, which is what I forgot to do during the tier 17 boss. We have conductivity, LE, weakness, and empower. The conductivity and LE weakness is on a trigger, a focus trigger, which comes from the helmet. You see socketed spells trigger when you have a focus. We press our R button, we get a focus, we curse everything. The amulet, we're going to use a Voices of the Storm Lapis amulet. This says lightning damage with non-critical strikes is lucky. We get a bunch of attributes, a lot of lightning damage, a bunch of mana, and we anoint it with ancestral knowledge, and we'll talk about ancestral knowledge in a little bit. Our shield, I had mentioned, this shield is a mirror service shield thanks to Oreo. The shield in itself has 20% increased RMR. If you are looking to play Splitting Steel Trickster and you do a lot of research, you'll see a lot of people using the Adziri shield, Adziri's reflection, and also really good alternative option to what you're doing and a good way to get into an entry point of this build. This shield gives us reservation to fit in another aura. This shield gives us 25% increased energy shield. This gives us another frenzy charge. We get tons of lightning damage, double damage, spell suppression, and just 430 flat energy shield. It has been since divined to have perfect energy shield, so if you get yourself a copy, it'll be absolutely perfect. In our shield, we have a discipline, a wrath, and a grace. These are 2 defensive and 1 offensive aura. Our ring 1, we have anathemas. We have it for our in speed. We have it for power charges. You gain a power charge equal to the curse spell thing. Yeah. And we pretty much use it to just gain more curses per power charge so we could stack up a lot of curses. Ideally, you get it corrupted with a really nice implicit. We have all res and grace effect aura. The grace effect aura on ours is really nice. I know Tornado Shot at home has increased attack speed on his. So if you, have a little bit of currency or you have a bunch of these rings, you can corrupt them to try to get a really nice roll on them. Our armor is 2,500 energy or evasion rating, 500 energy shield. We have evasion rating and energy shield, evasion rating hybrid, spell suppression, intelligence, all attributes. There is a perfect copy of it, or Tornado Shot does have that. You can indeed go mirror if you were looking to get a better version of this armor. This armor, like I said, I do have the graveyard link down below, so you can attempt to craft your own. In our armor, we have an Awakened Wed level 5. This is so that we have we can't take damage from reflect, and then we have damage on full life support. We have volatility support, splitting steel as 2120. We have energy leech support and awaken lightning pen so that we can deal tons and tons of damage. We pair this with a Nimbus. I had mentioned that Nimbus is one of the reasons why we do a lot of damage. Nimbus is a very big, important part of this build. You can see when I throw out my splitting steel, just because my cursor is over here does not mean that I will attack over here. Nimbus makes it so that your attacks go in all kinds of different directions. And essentially what happens is you see when I throw it goes out and it comes back and then it explodes on top of me. This is why when we did the tier 17 boss, I had mentioned that it is very important that you stand on top of the boss to maximize the amount of damage that you're going to do. We are paired with Mage Blood. We do have some flasks set up. We have a Bottle of Faith. The Bottle of Faith is for bossing and just for big damage against bosses. We have a Quicksilver Onslaught Flask for attack speed and increased effect. We have a Topaz Flask with Avoid Being Stunned. This gives us our maximum resistances. We have a Sapphire Flask with evasion rating and a Ruby Flask with movement speed. If you are not bossing and you want to swap some flask out, you could swap out the Ruby Flask for a Bismuth Flask with stun. You could do a Quicksilver Flask with movement speed, and then you could do a Phasing Flask with elemental resistances. We leave on the Silver Flask and we swap the Bottle of Faith with an Oriath's End. You don't need the flask swap setup. I have done mapping with these flasks. These flasks are absolutely fine. The only thing I would suggest would be the Oriath's End. This does make clear a lot smoother. In my inventory, I have 2 other flasks that you notice. I do have a Mana Flask for no regen maps because I do like doing no regen maps and I don't mind re-rolling over them. And I do have a Ruby Flask for Reflect because some tier 17s have double Reflect, and you can't do Fizz Reflect because Splitting Steel is not fully converted to an element, and you will in fact deal physical damage with Splitting Steel. So I have this flask. If I get a nice tier 17 map rolled with double Reflect, I can indeed still run that map. You really don't need the extra Ruby Flask to have the Reflect on it. You can put that on anything that you want. It's just personal preference. For me, I want to be able to do those maps. I don't want to roll over them, and it's just kind of like a whatever thing. Our boots have Intelligence, Energy Shield, Movement Speed, Avoid Elemental Ailments, Avoid Elements on the Eldritch Implicit, increase its, action speed, and focus has increased cooldown recovery rate. And our gloves have Maximum Energy Shield, Increased Energy Shield, increased stun and block recovery, 55 in attack speed, and damage while focused. Now, I spoke with Tornado Shot at home, and I'm going to go back to his. He had mentioned that while our gloves are still really, really, really good, he wanted me to make a note that gloves would be better with increased damage while leeching as a prefix. These gloves will add more damage, and the reason being is, and as he was explaining it to me, is the hybrid role of increased energy shield and increased stun and block recovery do not give you much or a lot more energy shield to the point that it's absolutely worth it. You get more out of your gloves by Veil Orbing, the attack and cast speed while focused in the suffix, and then crafting on the attack while leeching. Now our gloves, we have a cast when damage taken with Immortal Call, we have Ancestral Protector, and we have Arctic Armor. And our boots have a mark on hit support with Sniper's Mark, we have Shield Charge, and Enhanced Support. Something I want to mention, this build currently uses Shield Charge. You do not need to use Shield Charge. There are actually a lot of cases where I swap to Leap Slam, and Leap Slam is absolutely fantastic for this build. It is literally perfect. The one thing I will note about this build is I am level 96. Both of those gentlemen are level 100. This build actually really shines at being level 100. So if you are considering playing Splitting Steel Trickster, please note that as you level and get more levels, you will get more and more and more power. But overall, that's the gear in a nutshell. Moving on to our Atlas tree, or our passive tree, we do play Trickster. Trickster is completely crazy and cracked. I don't know how it's not nerfed into the ground, but Trickster is insanely overpowered. We get Polymath for 3% more damage for each different type of mastery. We recover life, mana, and energy shield on kill. We get Escape Artist for 5% or 5 evasion per 1 maximum energy shield on our equipped helmet, and 1 maximum energy shield per 6 evasion on our equipped body armor. This is why we have this kind of helmet and this kind of body armor. This body armor being a hybrid is absolutely positively fantastic. Soul Drinker for 2% of damage leeches energy shield, 20% increase attack and cast speed while leeching. Leech effects are not removed, so this gives us overleech, more damage, more attack speed. This node is insane, absolutely positively insane. And then we finish it up with Spellbreaker for 20% chance to suppress spell damage, prevent 10% of suppressed damage while full energy shield, and 50% chance for energy shield to recharge when you suppress spell damage. Overall, an absolutely fantastic ascendancy and out of this world. You see, we have Apprentice Pact. This gives us increased energy shield for all the nodes in the radius, and that's, just overall really, really, really strong. We come down here, we have a Thread of Hope. The Thread of Hope gives us the ability to put points into different nodes. We have Multi-Shot, piercing shots. This gives us our ability to pierce. This gives us an extra proj. We have spell suppression and movement speed. When we level again, we'll get primeval forces for more damage. And overall, having the Thread of Hope gives you an absolutely metric ton of good abilities and good stats, and you really kind of want to get it. We come on over here. We have an adorned. Our adorned is 142. This is more than enough to get the job done. If you haven't seen it, down below in the description, I'm going to provide you guys with an adorned jewel calculator. This will pretty much walk you through the adorned, how to use the adorned, what percentage adorned that you need. And essentially the adorned roll is on the top and the jewel is on the bottom. So we have, what do we have? A 142, right? We have a 142. So we scroll on over here. We look for a 142. We have a 142. We then look for our adorned jewel. We have a 5 and 8. We come over here to the row 5. We look, we see that 140 right there is the breakpoint for 5% rolls. So we see we never need to go over a 140. And then we look at our 8s, and then we come on over and we scroll on over, and we see that the only time that our 8 breakpoint is difference between a 138 is at 150, and we get 1% more. So overall, we get a 140-ish, 142, and we're pretty happy with our rolls. This will be included for you guys down below, and you guys can check this and look at the adorned, you know, as you will. We have a lot of adorned jewels. We have increased attack speed and energy shield. You really want to get synthesized jewels with this build. This build really thrives off of having synthesized jewels. You can get like increased int, increased energy shield, attack speed, curses. You know, the adorned is really nice. I know a lot of people aren't a big fan of the adorned, but I personally like the adorned. I think the adorned gives you really something awesome to strive for in the end game, and really promotes you doing a lot with your jewels and having a lot of fun with your jewels and crafting your jewels and really pushing for that high end build. This jewel has reduced effect of curses on you. Because we don't use the Aziri's reflection, we have this to reduce the effect of curses, and this gives us 55% reduced effect of curses. We have another one over here that gives us another 50%, giving us curse immune. All of our jewels are pretty much maximum energy shield. This one gains us energy shield with hit. This one is maximum attack speed and energy shield. And then we have another one that's increased attack speed and energy shield. And then we have another one that's increased attack speed and energy shield. And then another one that's increased attack speed and energy shield. And most of these jewels are a bit of a pain. If you do get to this build to the extreme min-maxy, very similar to how Shawn was playing it and how he's showcasing it here, you do eventually have to like corrupt your jewels for, you know, increased mana reservation of skills. It becomes pretty important, and it's the best way to like fit in all the things. If you do opt for a cheaper way to put it together, there are ways to fit the, you know, all of the auras, and you swap your shield around. You know, you do a couple of things to fit everything in. But we also have access to an impossible escape. The impossible escape is 100% and solely for this int node over here. This int node has been tattooed with a journey tattoo of the soul. These are indeed expensive, and they are hard to come by this late in the league. But this gives you 40% maximum energy shield per allocated journey tattoo of the soul. Now, if you remember earlier, we had mentioned Voices of the Storm, and we have allocated Ancestral Knowledge. Ancestral Knowledge is the int node that is up over here. And once again, we tattoo this one. So we get 40 maximum energy shield per allocated journey tattoo. So 40 and 40. So this one, I believe, gives 80, and this one gives 80. And then we take this one and add another 40. So it's 40, 40, 40, 40, 40, 40, 40, 40, 40. And then we come over here and we take another one and we get 40, 40, 40, 40, 40, 40, 40, 40, 40, 40. And this just stacks up to be an absolute metric ton of energy shield. You really can't beat it. You'll notice too in the build that we have 3 cluster jewels. All of our cluster jewels are exactly the same. They are Veteran Defender, Feed the Fury, and Martial Prowess. Feed the Fury for damage while, you know, increase attack damage, leeches life, increase damage while leeching, increase attack speed while leeching, and Veteran Defender for attributes, increase defenses from equipped shield and elemental resistance while holding a shield. Martial Prowess goes in the back. We don't take it. All of these jewels, you know, the way that, you know, this gentleman played it was all made with increased attack speed, and they were all Fractured Veteran Defender. These jewels, I believe, are crafted with Reforged Speed. I don't know. I'll look into it and I'll see if I can figure out how they were made. We have a Watcher's Eye for increased attack damage while affected by precision, 6% spell block while affected by discipline, and 50% lightning damage while affected by wrath. That is the reason we have the precision to be level 1. We just use precision for the increased attack damage. And otherwise, that's pretty much the build. We have an ancestral vision over here for chance to suppress based upon our spells, or modifiers to spell suppress also apply chance to avoid elemental elements at 50% of their value. And this pairs in with the boost, and that's how we get our ailment immunity. We take Wicked Ward. Wicked Ward is out of this world. I actually didn't take it at first, and I realized very quickly how much of a mistake that was. You absolutely take Wicked Ward. It gives you tons and tons of energy. Recharge rate is, not affected if it's been started, and you just kind of like constantly recharge energy shield. We're CI, so we're chaos immune. We never have to worry about chaos damage. We take Ghost Dance so that you just have an extra layer of defense. And overall, the build in itself, fantastic, out of this world. I am very, 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 very grateful to play it. I'm very, grateful to have the ability to showcase and bring this to you guys. And I love it. I honestly really do. It is a ton of fun. I played it yesterday on stream. Hours flew by. I didn't even bat an eyelash. And, I really wanted to bring it to you guys and show it to you guys. But for now, friends, I'm going to go do that Uber Elder or Uber Shaper. I'm going to showcase that to you guys and how you could just like stand there and take everything. I'm going to show you guys another tier 17 map, and then I'm going to get this video out to you guys. So if you enjoyed this and you like this build and you like this little showcase and you like, this little, this showcase is a good word. Leave a comment down below, leave a like, join the Discord, come on by the Twitch streams. Anything that you guys do to interact with the video really helps me and the channel a lot. And honestly, I appreciate your support, you guys watching these videos and interacting, and it keeps me employed, it keeps me here, and I can't thank you guys enough. Thank you for all the continued support, and as long as you guys are here, I'll keep making videos, man. But yeah, for now, I'm gonna stop being a little I'm just gonna stop being this, and I'm gonna get this video out to you guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.
Impressive, but futile. Swift. Inevitable. You will pay. Just beyond the door.
Turn back, trespasser. Cease this madness. You tamper with things you do not understand. Your recklessness will not go unpunished. This is your final force my hand again, little mouth. Or so you wish. You've chosen to side with chaos. This is my world, and you shall obey my order. In consequence,
He's recovering. We need to find a way back quickly.
behold the face of your unmaking.
Father, it's me. Let me help you.
The horror must be stopped. Obstacles destroyed. Irrelevant.
He's injured, but not for long. We need to get back.
These memories are mine. I cannot lose them.
They lied to you, Father. I'm your true memory.
To save the future, the past must be sacrificed. Irrelevant!